Good evening. My name's David Knox, and I have MSA again. Today's March 27th. My wife's birthday, by the way. Um, Lovely wife, 20 years. Couple updates here. I got a list. I want to stick on topic and not take 20 minutes for you here. Okay, so I have 3 items and 5 points total. Number one is I haven't been online for almost 2 weeks. Been feeling very depressed. Depression is hard. Obviously, depression happens for a lot of things, and having a illness like this that's life ending is it sucks, right? I'm really good with hiding depression and anxiety, stress, stuff like that, and I was in a funk for quite a while. Even before the last video, I didn't want to do anything. I hated everything, and nothing made me happy. So I actually decided to go back on my Adderall. I know that's not a depression medicine, but the Adderall definitely helped me to get refocused on things, cleaning, painting, fixing things that normally I just dropped for the last month. So I'm feeling much better. Still hella depressed, but what are you going to do, right? Try to limit that. So I'm back. Try to stitch in a couple of test results on here. Now, speaking of test results, item number 2 and 3 is my Parkinson's gene genetic test at the Mayo Clinic that tests all 90-something genomes that they know of. Came back completely negative, 100% negative. And I actually got a message from my doctor over there. It says, Mr. Knox, your genetic testing for Parkinson's disease was completely negative. This does not mean that you do not have Parkinson's disease. Rather, it signifies that of the genes that you recognize can cause early Parkinson's disease, you do not have them. And then he says, I wish you the best of luck, your local neurologist, if they'd be my assistants. It seems like he's kicking me out of the mail. It seems like I'm being kicked out, but I just don't know I'm being kicked out yet. Like, I still got half my tests yet. And yet he's still hung on Parkinson's. Whatever. So, negative. More mystery here. It's actually enlightening. We call my wife, thank God she calls people. She's my savior when it was a calling. She called my new neurologist up here and told her, because as of 2 Saturdays ago, my slurring of my speech and my instability in my legs is now permanent. It's not moving. It's not going away. The best I can hope for is maybe after a month or two it'll go back away and come back, but I can't hope that. So she called the doctor for me and had her actually call me on the phone. She's obviously concerned, but I've never had a doctor call me over the phone that quick, because it's a shock. I'm doing pretty good with my slurring right now. You probably won't notice very much. I tripped in the bedroom earlier. I was trying to wipe the wall down, cleaner and stuff like that. Foot didn't quite make it where it's supposed to. So you just got to learn how to fall, easier for some than others. So I will say that. So my neurologist called last week, a week before. I can't remember anymore. And, she says, she was very honest with me. This is my new neurologist. I saw her one time and, she's kind of cold and I got the wrong impression, right? I mean, it is what it is, but when I talked to her, she was even more caring and understanding, explaining how they go, and it really made me feel much better about the care that I'm in, so to speak. So I told her about my 100% slurred speech for the whole day. Now it's not going away. The instability in my legs, not able to keep them, the stability. It's before I just had shaking like downstairs and walking, and now I can't support my weight. It seems like. So and she told me, we had a very frank conversation, and she says, the treatment of Parkinson's and Mayo's or msa is really the same. She says the only thing that the levodopa, that medicine is only for tremors. She says it's only going to help tremors and nothing else. So good, because I took my Adderall again, so now I'm little more jittery than before. But she says for all the other symptoms, you treat them as they are, but there's nothing for the stability. There's nothing for, there's something for slurred speech, which she called LSVT, something like that. But she just be careful that you jump into this stuff too soon because it's very intensive. Some of these treatments are, DBS for tremors is a main concern of mine right now. It's very cumbersome, and once you do one thing, you can't get something else. And she told me about the Michael J. Fox. Oh, he had a part of his thalamus or something taken out, and since he did that, he ruled himself out of a whole bunch of other treatments that they have today. So, she's cautioning me not to jump into stuff too soon. If I can endure it, to endure it. But we up some medication, and she told me, because I asked her, I said, I finally got the cojones to ask her. I said, why is it just me? But I feel like this is moving too quick for Parkinson's. Right? Even if we want to entertain it, everything else is saying no, it's not, right. You don't slur speech in Parkinson's too, which is just keep right. I started off with, we started some weird stuff, ALS and MSA and Parkinson's MSA, and Parkinson's doesn't have the symptoms of MSA cellular type. And if you remember one of my first video, I told you I think I have msa-c is, since when it began, msa-c is my predominant feature now, then and now. Just everyone was looking at the Parkinsonian type, the shaking and stuff like that PD patients have. And she told me, she says, because her mom, so I told her, I said, it's moving too quick. This Parkinson's don't move this quick. And I said, I'm so frustrated with my doctor at Mayo because he says young onset Parkinson's does funky things, unusual things that it manifests. So she explained it to me. She said, well, young onset Parkinson's, the order of operations, the onset of symptoms it's wildly different between people. She says that's what he's trying to tell you. But she says the treatment's the same for the most part. And as quick as this is moving, she doesn't think she's now leaning off of, she didn't agree with him at the Mayo. She didn't agree with IU Health. She's wanting all these tests to be done so she can help me with, regardless of the conclusion, she's going to treat me, right? Doesn't matter really what the diagnosis is. But she was telling me that agreeing with me that as fast as this is moving, it can't be Parkinson's, right? And she frankly told me, she says, you would have responded somehow, some way more positive to being on 100 times 3 times a day of the carbidopa medicine, and the fact you've had no reaction to it is just confirmation. It's not PD, it's not Parkinson's, right? So just reconfirming what I said. And I said, well, what about the Mayo Clinic doctor that's saying, well, you don't have autonomic failure that we can see, right? It's not black and white. We can't test for it. So you can't have MSA. And she told me, she says, look, her mother had MSA without autonomic features. Autonomic is one of those things that really hit at the beginning of MSA, or it hits at the very end. And most people don't have autonomic. A lot of people, she said, don't have autonomic because it hits so far in the end that, too far along, if I can say that. So she was very comforting and bringing it out that, knowing what we know now, just even given a couple months since the last testing in Mayo, a couple months, a month or whatever, the way they're progressing is not Parkinson's. Again, you can't never, right? And I agree with her on that, just like even the Mayo doctor. I don't agree with him hardly at all, but I agree with him. You don't know what you don't know, right? That Parkinson's is genetic test can only test for what we do know. And a lot of that stuff we don't. So, it's one of those things that it's coming to fruition. My goal was really to get to, I'm honest with all of you, my goal was and still is to get to a July cruise that, my mom was so, so kind to take me and my family to Europe on a cruise, and then, Barcelona, Paris, Venice, Italy, And, my goal was to get to then, but, the way this progressing, man, just when you think you got it conquered, it's a reminder. And as my wife would definitely tell you, as her 20 years, I'm good at ignoring a lot of things, including emotional and, things like that. That's how they don't get to me. I have a very good knack for keying them out of my mind, and it don't cross my mind. And I think over the last few months, since the end of last year, I got so used to these symptoms, I ignored it and said, screw it. I'm just going to keep going forward and not think about it. That, you know, these new symptoms became the norm, and I didn't think about them at all. And so when some new symptoms come up, or even more of these symptoms, right, more intense, it brings you back down to earth for a minute, right? So, it's just, no, I don't really have the autonomic. I don't have a lot of the constant stuff I had a little while ago, and now I was a couple of days ago for a video, like, and now they're creeping back up. These symptoms are absolutely nuts. But as of today, my gait, my walking is completely drunk. It's feet ain't coming up very far. I'm sliding, wide gait, stumbling, falling a lot more. I'm actually admitting it now. Before I wouldn't even admit it to you. You wouldn't even see me. Standing upright is a chore for me. It's incredulously hard. I'm now, every time I come up, I'm leaning back and going right. I'm just holding my balance. I feel like I've had at least 3 or 4 beers or a couple shots of liquor. I'm gonna start comparing my symptoms to how many shots of liquor, and I can drink a lot of liquor, right? Beer makes for drunk to liquor, but that's what it's coming down to. So speech is slurred all day long. It's not every word. I try to slow down, and be careful. The more external feedback I get, the more stimulus I get, the worse it gets, including the tremors. Tremors aren't really bad or anything, but the more stimulus I get, it gets even worse. So, but tremors has never been my predominant feature, at least not a resting tremor, right? I have a very minor resting tremor, but my stuff is more of action tremors. Like if I try to push my hands against each other, you can literally hear my voice, and you can see, the body trembling. I don't know the word for that, shaking, but that's what it is. That's what I have, more of an action tremor, right? So, it's one of those things where we've ruled out some more Parkinson's, and my new neurologist is saying we got to get off this PD. Not that the treatment's different, but let's focus more on the msa, because PD takes a long for this stuff to come out, and your symptoms are too quick. So we need to just assume it is MSA, and worry about these things that are unfortunately going to kill you, or not going to help you in the near term. So, the goal is to get to July, and it's March, and I have my doubts about July. I really do. I promised my mom I was going to do it no matter what. I got it without an electric scooter. She's trying to buy me an electric scooter, and it's not funny, but it's hysterical. I'm trying to stop from getting into that. We got some more trips later here and stuff, and I'm just, as of right now, I'm not optimistic at all. I'm not hopeful. So I'm trying my best, but she did say that, doctor did say that the best thing I can do for the stability of the legs is exercise. So I was on ladder today. Don't be joking with me. Don't be yelling at me. I was on the ladder checking some external commercial lights at work, and ladder training is other new hires. So it is what it is. Got to keep going, and exercise is key. So we'll see. I got another video for some stuff, some things in Mexico and stem cells, a whole bunch of things that might be in the future. But I am feeling much better now, so I think videos will be coming. So appreciate you all. Thank you for your support, and I'll see you next one.